like,
bring us
Xbox Nation. Let them eat cake, and we're live. Hey, what's up, everybody? How's it going, Xbox Nation? It is Wednesday night, 8 or so, a little bit after
8-ish. We got Mooch time right now.
We are. We were waiting for Mooch. I was like, hey, we might as well just wait for him because he's like, I'm a minute away, and I was like, all right, so we'll do that.
I was on Crossfire, man.
Yeah. But hey, we're back and we got the lineup here. Minus Foxy. She might join us full time. If you guys know her or follow her on Twitter, just be like, hey Fox, you should really join Xbox Nation full time.
Oh boy. Send the crapaholics out.
Yeah. They should end the Mooch Maniacs.
Yeah, the Maniacs.
All three of the crapaholics.
I know, right? You really need the Mooch Maniacs. And just be like, hey, Fox, because they're really more enthusiastic. The crapaholics will be like, hey, Fox.
They are enthusiastic.
You might want to consider joining.
Would you should consider it. I don't know, whatever. I'm not sure. So, yeah, but anyway, we got Mooch back. He's back from vacation. How's it going, Mooch? Did you have a good time, man?
It was a good time. So I was just saying this yesterday, and I'll say it again. I literally love the fact that I rolled the dice crap, right? I took the week before the week of E3, and really it was a good week. You even said it. You're like, there was news, but the news was either debunked an hour later or it was something they were holding close to their chest. So batteries are recharged. We've got Xbox Nation tonight. I am absolutely pumped. We have a full weekend of amazing E3 coverage, and then E3 itself is going to be huge on Sunday. Crap, we've really got to get our rest on Saturday night for that one.
Yeah, I know, because that's like a full time of nothing but doing stuff, and I see we got a nice full chat here and everything.
We do.
Luca,
shout out to Luca.
Yeah. It's gonna be a good time. I heard that I don't know, like I'm not gonna say much more than this on air, but you got a little blessed from a certain Pope.
I did. Very, very cool. No, it's okay to talk about. Like, to be honest with you, it was just ironic. We were just talking in DMs and stuff, and he says, hey, I'm going to be in Mexico next week. We were both there. So we ended up, I met the Pope. And believe it or not, folks, you won't believe it. I actually mooched lunch off the Pope. I didn't even plan on it. So I did. I did. I didn't have any pesos. I had no pesos.
From the lunch.
So yeah, the Pope hooked me up. I want to say shout out to the Pope. Awesome dude. You guys see him. He's always very vocal on Twitter. So thank you, Pope. I will be repaying the Pope, by the way. I don't want to take a free meal from the Pope. I feel very guilty. A code is one thing, but a meal's another. Okay?
Yeah. Well, did you have soup? Because
no, it was soup and a sandwich. Yes, it was a full meal. Yeah.
Okay.
That's soup in Mexico? What the hell?
But I mean, no, he DMs me and he goes, man, Mooch is a great dude. I was like, yeah, man, he's a great guy, man. So that was cool. He was like bragging about it. He's like, I got to meet Mooch.
It was great. He goes, the family is like excited to meet the Mooch. I said, that's great. It's a couple signed autographs of an eagle and we'll be on our way, right? There we are. Hey, now.
That's awesome. So
as well.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
That sounds awesome, man. And so we got Mooch back. We got Hellhammer back. What's up, Hellhammer?
Yeah, not too much. Was playing some Vampire earlier, and then Detroit before that.
Nice.
Oh yeah, Detroit. How you feeling about that? Pretty good.
Oh, that's probably gonna be a contender for Game of the Year for me.
Oh, don't say that. Oh, come on.
No, very easily.
You can ask Mooch too. Mooch will tell you.
Dude, that's like saying Telltale should be up for Game of the Year. When
Telltale wishes they could do a game.
Xbox, and we're going to get into it. I'm sure Crap has it in his list. But, the thing about it that's just so different, there is a massive difference. You have a PS4. There's a massive difference between Detroit and Telltale. Massive. Yeah. I mean, it is just day and night.
At the core, it's the same type of game, man.
Well, let me mention this as well, that Telltale, The Walking Dead Season 1 did win the Game of the Year award at Spike TV years ago. So remember, Michael Pachter was like, he goes, I'll eat my hat if that game wins. I don't think he ever ate his hat, though. So
come on, man.
And we got someone who keeps people salty. Salty is gaming. What's up, bro?
What's up, man? I'm frying eggs out here in Phoenix on the sidewalk, doing my thing. I have a confession to make. Speaking of the Pope, I got roped back into Destiny.
Yeah.
I saw that trailer for the expansion coming out, and they're like, hey, you know, you got to buy those first 2 DLCs that weren't that good. So I was like, I looked at the store and it was 50% off. So I was like, boom, I'm buying it. So
that's my man.
Come September, we will play together, man.
Oh yeah, dude. Hey, it felt really, really good to play that game again. I'm not gonna lie.
It does.
Earlier,
okay, let's
all right. Oh crap! It's like,
okay. I had that as a topic. The thing is, I invited Xbot on thinking that him and Mooch would be the only people pro Destiny.
Grows on you.
Now that's outnumbered. Yeah.
Fungus grows on you too.
This is true. This is true.
And we got Xbot 448 joining us here again. What's up, man? How's it? What's going on, man?
Yo, what's going on, everybody? I'm starting to feel like I might have a regular seat here on Wednesday, but you know what it is, man. When you call me, I come running. I love talking games. Go,
dude. You know what's funny was I DM'd you. I was like, Xbot, can you make the show? You know, I'm shorthanded. And then I was like, for some reason, I had that stupid part of Forrest Gump where he's like, Lieutenant Dan, ice cream. Yeah. And I was like, Xbot, ice cream. And you're like, oh, ice cream. I was like, yeah, man, can you join? Because I'm having trouble like finding people to do a podcast now is difficult. You know,
I don't believe you, crap. Really
it is, man. Trust me. I mean, once in a while, I'll get somebody that's like, hey, can I join the podcast? But it's like, you know,
but you know the deal. Anytime I can hang out with Hellhammer, it's a good night. So
man, yeah, Hellhammer's loving it. He's in fact he's editing his first video right now.
Oh yeah, you know it.
Check it out. Coming. 6 months, people. 6 months.
Yeah, it's coming. It's definitely coming. But I want to jump into some of these topics. Let's see here. We can talk about what do we got? We can talk about rumors of Gears of War Battle Royale. Huh? That's a good place to any to start out. Let people shuffle in a bit. So Polygon was like,
gotta have Battle Royale in every game now. So
right.
Well, Polygon said that there's possible 3 Gears of War announcements. I find that dubious. Why would you announce 3 in one at one showing? I'm not saying that there couldn't be 3 different types in production, but I don't think they're going to announce 3 at E3. And I don't think Battle Royale works very well with Gears of War.
Nah, the whole cover system thing, like I can't like bumping in cover and stuff, like having in terms of Battle Royale. I don't know, man.
I'm glad you brought that up, crap, because people keep saying, what do you think about a Halo Battle Royale? What do you think about Gear? And I've never said that. I'm glad you said it first, to be honest with you, because it's a topic of conversation. It's been bugging me. Those games just don't fit that mold. I don't feel like they fit that mold. I mean, think about the games that are currently Battle Royale, and maybe future games will prove us wrong. But the games that are right now, they're just that flimsy, loosey-goosey kind of control game, you know, that's really just it's fly by the seat of your pants kind of play. And Halo and Gears seem very strategic. They seem very strategic. I don't know, for some reason, I don't know. Maybe I'm using the wrong words, but those games don't seem to have that essence to them. It just doesn't have it.
Yeah, you know, I kind of agree. I don't think that it really works out that well for that. You know, I'm not against that type of mode, right?
Right.
I just don't think that that's a game that's going to utilize that mode to the best, in my opinion.
My own question with that is the Battle Royales that people are playing now, they're pretty freaking big. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You don't want them to hamper like the graphic quality and stuff like that like Gears and Halo are known for, to try to stretch out a map as big as possible. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Well, Salty, I know you did a video about this. What's your take on the Battle Royale?
I actually read a comment in my comment section that kind of made me think.
Do that.
Yeah. Phil Spencer actually quoted about the Battle Royale system, and he said they didn't have anything in the works, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So that in itself kind of debunks this whole mystery here. But at the same time, the way the game feels and it works, because I'm a big first-person shooter guy. That's my MO. The Gears movement, when you're moving from point to point, it's supposed to be like, I guess the way they made it, it's like a short distance, right? Even the way the camera is and everything else.
Yeah, your character
imagine running in that camera angle. You get sick, man. It just doesn't work, you know.
You'd have to hold the button down, you know what I mean? Like, it's You're right, man. Like Battle Royale is all kind of Twitch based, and I'm not sure that that works out well. What's funny is, and I mentioned this on BGST, I ran a poll and almost 2,000 people voted on it. Which game would better suit Battle Royale? And people, avatars won, right? Like, yeah, I thought that was a little bit odd.
I'd buy my camo gear and everything to go into Avatar Battle Royale, man.
Well, think about it. I bet they could probably, if that is, there is a rumor saying that that's going to happen, but they're all about the mobile space, the tablet space,
Not only that, but think of all the microtransactions.
They're thinking of it.
No, just like Xbox was saying, right? Like you buy the stuff actually for your avatar, and you use that in the game.
Yeah, just look stuff, not like pay to win. Yeah.
I'm also thinking opposite that way though, because if they do Battle Royale with the avatars, then you can win stuff that you can show off on your avatar just on the regular as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it could go back and forth. That would be pretty cool. As far as Gears though, between Gears and Halo, I think Halo would fit better. Wouldn't necessarily be a perfect fit. And I know people will say just because, I'm a big time Halo fan, but I just feel that it would fit better in terms of your character doesn't feel weighty, doesn't feel heavy compared to Gears. Gears, you're meant to slam into the wall and take cover. You're meant to put your weight in, on the character and stuff like that. And Halo's not really built like that. So.
Yeah, I mean,
we're also talking about Battle Royale games as we know them right now, right? Like, we know them right now as being those loose kind of twitchy kind of shooters or whatever, like PUBG and Fortnite and those kind of games. But, I mean, let's be honest, right? A lot of those games aren't as, obviously Fortnite is a little bit more polished graphically, but those games aren't polished up now like what they were, like, say, like even original first-person shooters started out being loose and kind of whatever, and they kind of refine it. So, I mean, over time, what we know is that it could change completely, with a Gears-type game or whatever.
Yeah, I just, for me personally, I find it a little bit funny that everything's got to have a Battle Royale mode. I wouldn't mind if nothing has
Battle Royale.
Well, it's funny, Salty, you brought up Phil Spencer saying that, right? And he did say that. Yeah. And you know who else said something similar was Matt Booty recently. He said that they wouldn't look to trends. It takes a while, and by the time you get to do it, the trend is over. And I'm not sure if because there's a difference between them lying and them being strategic and not revealing the full hand right now, right? Because Phil Spencer, when asked about backward compatibility before it was announced, was like, yeah, not going to happen, right?
Right.
We knew it was going to happen. He said that Gears of War had run its course, and then they bought the studio, bought the IP, right? So I'm thinking it's a good fit for Mike. Look at H1Z1 Battle Royale on PS4, and I told this to Mooch earlier, over 7 million people playing that.
Wow.
Right? Yeah, that's an incredible number. Microsoft lives for these type of games. So it is a fit.
It is that type of game.
It's not a fit for Gears, but we could see something come along. And I think...
I mean, what if they make a Gears one and that thing that blows you away?
It could. Maybe they change it up. I don't know.
They don't have to have the same exact physics just because it's Gears based, right? Like a spin-off game doesn't have to have the same exact physics or the same exact...
And Hellhammer, you're a genius. And you know why you're a genius? Because Matt Booty, once again, said they want to take risks with their tentpole IPs, meaning that just because you're used to one thing doesn't mean they can't change it to something else.
Right.
And so that could work if they changed it up enough, because think about this. Halo's first person. Battle Royales, I think don't they like selling skins and stuff? That's pretty much got to be third person. So, I mean, it makes sense for it to be third person. Crackdown makes a lot of sense to me as a Battle Royale.
Yes, awesome.
And the funny thing is, just before we came on the air, I was watching that Did You Know Game thing, and it was about Fortnite, and I was just checking it out. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. So little things about that game that I didn't know. When you guys might remember, they unveiled that game in 2011 at the Spike TV Game Awards, right? 2011.
Yeah.
And they came up with the concept 3 weeks prior to the Spike TV Awards, meaning they had no game. It was just that in that 3 week period, they put together that little CGI trailer, right? And then what they did was they realistically didn't have a game for years to come after that. And then what they did was the Battle Royale mode, they said they did super fast, like last minute.
Gee, I wonder where they got the source code for that.
Yeah, because they work with PUBG, you know, so you know, and they said they went the opposite way because they wanted people to feel happy when they play it and not depressed with like realistic graphics and things like that, and they wanted to be cheery, right? And people like enjoy the map and stuff. And so they got that out really fast, like from start to finish. I mean, it's not finished yet, but I guess something like 6 months. That's incredibly fast amount of time. You're telling me Microsoft couldn't pivot on that fast enough? I think they could.
Yeah, just look at Radical Heights, how fast they got that game out. It was a matter of months.
Well, yeah,
right?
Those type of games don't require a lot of coding, especially if you already have back-end coding for multiplayer.
Man, I wish we had the Don in here to talk about coding. Yeah.
I asked it. Don's like, I can't do any podcast till after E3.
Is that what he said?
That's what he told me because he made a deal with his wife or something like that. So,
this is KPR, yo. Shout out to
so
KPR.
Because trust me, I like having the Don on because he gives really great perspective. Right? He's a developer. Developer. Where's Jay
Palmer at?
So you know, like for me personally, I think that I actually do think that they're gonna have something Battle Royale related. I'm just not sure what.
Right. I think Crackdown 3 is your best bet. I mean, everything you guys just said makes sense. And if you don't believe with the fact that it's a quick turnaround for that kind of game, just look at Call of Duty last year, they're like, dude, we're putting that in. Blackout. And it's funny, we don't even know much about it, but I got to tell you, I'm pretty excited for Blackout. I think they're going to do a hell of a job with it. I think that might be the first time that Fortnite, I don't think Fortnite gets dethroned necessarily, but Fortnite's going to get a run for its money. And in popularity, take this with a grain of salt, folks. We haven't seen it yet.
I mean, maybe because Fortnite's free. That right there is what.
Yeah, I mean that is a good point. I mean that's a good point. I mean,
there's a reason why Fortnite got so popular. It's because and honestly, like, it's not even a shot at it, right? Because it's not like it's not it's not like I'm a huge I hate Fortnite or whatever, right? It's just I'm not a huge fan of it, or I haven't played a lot.
Right.
A lot of the people who are playing it because they can download it for free.
Yeah. I don't know. I think if anybody could do it, it'd be COD because of the player base. Because consistently, year after year, they sell, record-breaking numbers with sales, and their player base is huge.
Right.
And that's a multiplayer player base. So if they add that on, they're like, hey, I'll just play it.
That's where I'm coming from too, Salty. I'm with you on that. That's the only one I can see that can go head to head with a free game, is because that number is they're a juggernaut.
Yeah, I told Luke. I think it was funny because Luca was entering in something on Twitter about winning Black Ops 4, and she entered me. It's like, tag somebody and retweet. She entered me. I'm like, I don't even want that game.
That's right.
So, but I mean, look, if the PUBG mode is fire, who knows? But for me personally, I'm not really that interested in what it's going to be.
I'm gonna wait to see the actual gameplay footage and such.
Yeah, well, here's the thing about Crackdown too. Just going back to that point real quick. Crackdown, a lot of people are like, why isn't it released? Why isn't it released? What people don't understand is what Xbox games getting bashed right now, and this is kind of rumorish. It was going to have one game mode for the multiplayer, which it's called Wrecking Crew. It's 5v5, and it's like the total destructive stuff. That's it. And then the campaign was like 4 to 6 hours long. That would have got shredded, right? So if you look at what Microsoft did, supposedly they put it back in production, and they're adding more modes, quote unquote, to the multiplayer, and also I guess extending the single player and fixing that up too. So, it's an interesting thing. But the funny thing is, a guy in the chat saying it's in development hell. Is it really? I mean, like I said, Fortnite was announced in 2011, and we got it in 2017.
Right.
Technically, this game's only been in development for 4 years, so. It's Noom Noogum! Noom Kaboom in the room! I made it! It's me, Boom Boom Kaboom! Noob's in the room! Nice to see Noob here, man. Hope you feel better soon, bro.
Yes.
Heard you were a little bit under the weather there, or having some issues, so hopefully you feel better. So, let's move on, folks. Speed through here. Microsoft acquiring Playground Games.
About time.
I know, right?
So shocking. Oh, my goodness.
Who said about time?
I did.
Hellhammer nailed it, and Crap, me and Crap are going back and forth in the DMs, and don't get me wrong,
I don't
blame.
talking to Eeyore. Jesus,
I was not talking to Eeyore. You were talking to the ghosts of future past. I don't know. I've been there already. We've been waiting for this to happen forever.
Yeah.
Like it's right. It's Crap's like, Moosh, can you believe it? They're gonna buy Playground Games, and I'm like, what? Like it's like Santa electing a new elf. Who gives a shit? We knew this was supposed to happen. I'm like, look at so now we locked down Forza Horizon?
Hey, we locked down Forza Horizon and we locked down Fable. So I mean,
2 games that were already ours.
But here's the thing, though.
Locked down. Yeah.
When you look, but think about this. This is how Crap Gamer's thinking about this, right? Look at if Microsoft would have owned Insomniac. Would Sunset 2 even be a question? If Sony, those fans probably wished that Sony owned Insomniac, because what happens is, let's say they released Fable, right? Okay, I'll be honest, and this is what I heard the scuttlebutt. A lot of developers didn't want Playground Games as open world RPG. It was going to be not Fable, right? And we've heard this rumor before. Rand said there's been other people saying this stuff. So they pitched this RPG to Phil, and Phil was like, nah. And they pitched it to these other publishers, and other publishers were like, nah. Why? Because they've only done racing games.
Right.
So what they did was hire a bunch of people familiar with open world type RPGs.
Right. That is true. Yes.
And then Phil's like, you know what? Let's go ahead and do it if it's Fable. So now it's going to be Fable. But let's just say they knocked it out of the park with Fable.
Right.
Fable reboot. It's amazing. By the way, their contract was up for Forza Horizon after this one.
Right.
So who knows? Like their other team could have took on other work, and then we don't get another Horizon game. I'm sorry, but those are my favorite out of the racing games. You know, I could do without the motorsport.
They are going to be bigger than motorsport. They have a wider audience, man.
So what I'm saying is, we could have possibly lost them, and they knock it out of the park with Fable and Forza Horizon, and then next thing you know, they're a hot commodity.
Nothing you said is wrong, but I just think they should have done it about 3 years ago.
They probably should have. And you know what the funny thing is, I've even mentioned it to Phil, and other people have. What if Amazon buys them? Remember how Killer Instinct was made by a studio, and then Amazon bought that studio, and they had to switch developers? Like, you've got people in these gaming streets as we transition into cloud gaming that need developers. And guess what? Amazon and Google are probably a part of that. This is probably, 10, 15 years from now, but you're going to need content creators.
Amazon and Google get into the console space, then it's going to get crazy.
Well, I don't even know if they're going to get into the console space as we know it. I think they're more in the cloud and stuff.
And these companies that are in here right now aren't trying to do streaming. All right, guys?
They sure.
I'm the one who said that from the beginning, and everybody told me no. So
no, I don't want, for me personally, I don't want that.
I don't. Right? I'm not happy with it. But that's the future.
It's the future. I'm telling you. Don't even go there.
And then they'll decide. Okay.
As much as they talk about the cloud, they need to have like a mascot, like Mickey at Disneyland. Just have a cloud walking around. You know,
they do, right?
Like but just a cloud.
You know what's funny, Salty? It's funny that you bring that up because they stayed away from talking about the cloud because it was such a joke, right? And I guess they're going to talk about it again this year, which I guess that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. But it's like, have something to show. I felt like they rushed the cloud stuff last.
Yeah, well, the problem was that Microsoft came out, and this was before that was like a catchword that was familiar with everybody who wasn't tech related, really. So everybody thought it was just some kind of joke. Like the tech industry knew what the hell that was, but then they didn't realize it was going to take off as much as it did or as fast. So what happened is now nobody takes that as a joke anymore, because literally every single IT and major tech corporation in the world has some sort of cloud computing going on, right? That's simple.
Yeah,
they're just ahead of the game, and they're always ahead, and sometimes they put the carriage before the horse, and they get their shit out too early,
Yeah, it was literally almost another case of when they released the original Xbox, they only put the Ethernet port in there, not a 56K. Like, they were a little bit ahead. That was pretty much it. Like, and nobody really understood it.
Yeah, I mean, look, they seem to be a little bit ahead of the curve when it comes to this stuff, and people aren't ready for it, and I do get that.
That's a Microsoft thing, all throughout, that corporation.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that's kind of their thing. For me, I think this is a big deal because right away, Playground Games is a studio that they're going to own with 2 development teams.
Right.
Well, more dev teams is always good.
Yeah, not only that, but we also know that they're having a Santa Monica studio, and there could be others.
Right.
Right. Like that, I think, is the important thing. And here's the thing, this coming together, and I know some people still don't believe this is a thing, right? Like they're like, oh, this probably not real. There was the paperwork, and this guy, this Dolliver guy, right? He's now like the head of Playground Games. And this is the same guy that Microsoft put as the head of Rare when they bought them out, because UK law states that you have to do something like this, right? He was also the same guy that they put as the head of Lionhead when they bought Lionhead. So this is definitely something that's happening. He's now the director of Playground, and then it'll get, like, once it passes and everything, I think they were waiting for this to come together for E3. You know what I mean? And I think this is good, you know, that who knows what we're going to get. Like, originally, I was thinking the way that a lot of people were. It's going to be a subdued E3. I don't expect much. But Mooch, something changed, didn't it, Mooch? And
well,
now I'm like, well, what's changed for me is there's a different feeling. You know, it's a little bit more optimistic.
Well, you know, here's the thing, and don't get me wrong, I like where you're going with this, and I'm going to go ahead and spin it and say that I agree with you. I think that this is all fantastic news, but you have to look at, and crap, I'm going to put you in my situation as well. We've been doing this for 3-4 years, so to see that they're finally starting to step on the gas and take it off the cruise control is extremely exciting. Everything Crap just said holds a lot of water. The only part of me that doesn't get quite as excited as Crap is, we all know this, and everybody in the chat knows this. We all know that when you see these types of moves happen, you're still about 3, maybe 4 years away from seeing these amazing development teams come to fruition. And then there's the if it works. Now, let's take that if out of it. That's not fair. That's not fair to any developing team. You can say any of these games coming out could be a bomb. Any of them, even proven ones. So I agree with you. We've been sitting here since essentially, okay, because I get in trouble when I say 2016. Gears of War 4 is still one of my favorite games. Love it. Yeah. So let's leave 2016 out of it. 2017, 2018. They're going to announce it in 18. That means 19, 20, 21 is the earliest we're going to see something come to fruition of the new thing, the new items.
They could have started working on it earlier.
Well, Xbox, listen, the only problem is if you were telling somebody that at a bus stop, they'd be like, yeah, maybe you're right, Xbox. Unfortunately, we watch the news every goddamn day. That's what we do. So this is not what happened. They actually opened it about an hour ago. Well, so, you know, I mean,
talking about the development of the games, though.
Well, which one? That depends. If you're talking about Halo 6, I'm with you. If you're talking about Fable, I'm not. Fable started about 45 minutes ago.
Though, like as far as the Playground side goes, right? We know that they're working on Fable. We know that they're working on Forza. But how do we know?
2018, this year, that just started.
How do we know that they haven't been working on something else besides that?
They were, and the rumor is that they were like, okay, well, take that stuff you got and make that into Fable.
Turn it into Fable, right?
Yeah, they already had some assets they were using. Right. And here's the thing, there's a lot of and the Don would be perfect for this crap. Basically the engines are what take a long time for a lot of these games to make.
That's the hardest part, the code.
If you look at Quantum Break, for example, right? That engine that Remedy built was their own engine. That was what took so long. What is it? The Northlight engine on Alan Wake and Quantum Break.
Well, that's what took. Well, that goes down into those battle royale game types. How people make that stuff so fast because the engines already exist.
Yeah.
So once you have the game engine and you know even just a little bit about it, or if it's an in-house one, or if it's Unreal or whatever, and you have experience with it, it's fast to push out something.
Yeah, exactly. So they're using Unreal Engine 4, right? For Fable. So that's already an engine that they have. You know, so you got some assets that
existing assets of Fable when it comes to Fable.
Well, I don't know if they're using those though. Like I think they're rebooting.
They could have easily handed them over.
They have them.
Microsoft property right there.
Yeah. So they have them, but I think they're rebooting that or something like that. So
that Legend looked amazing.
I would kind of agree with Crap with that. Go ahead, Salt.
The thing is with these games, if you look at the timeline when they were, kind of quote unquote budget soft, like they're having those cutbacks and everything else, that's when they would have been developing all these games that would be coming out now. So, they did all those cancellations and delays and closures of studios around that time period. So I think that not much is going to be coming out now. There's going to be a few surprises, but I live in Phoenix and I watch Phoenix sports. So traditionally we get hyped up for our teams, right? And then we get let down. So like I've been trained to kind of have a pessimistic view when it comes to certain things.
I'm a Mets fan, Salty, so I hear you.
Yeah, so I'm trying not to get too hyped up for this E3, what I'm saying? But at the same time, I feel like it's going to be different on a certain level, just what they're doing,
I think if you look at this E3 crap, and I know, don't get me wrong, me and Crap are going back and forth in the DMs like crazy the past couple of days. He's glass half full, and I'm like somebody just pour something in the glass. And right now, so I'm at a point right now where I am excited. There's nothing wrong with what's happening at Microsoft as far as the direction. But like Salty said, I've been in this situation now for years where we're like, hey, just wait till E3. Now here's the thing. Microsoft's going to come out this year and tell us, hey, guys, everything's really going to be great. These are announcements. These are new openings of studios. Now just wait another 3 E3s, and then we'll get to the good stuff. And that's the way it is. That's the business, guys. So I can't change that.
Here's the thing, though, right? Like, you're right in one aspect, right? But there was also almost 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, Phil Spencer said, we signed deals, but they're not going to be ready for 2 or 3 years. That, I think, a year and a half point is when you can announce some of those. Right? So there are some other stuff that we could get, but you're right. Like, I think Fable is probably 2019, 2020. Yep. So, I mean, but still, announcing those things would do a long way in helping people feel a little bit better about their investment.
Are you a part of the no doom and gloom now? Is that
hey, we hit 700 watching. Hit the like button, guys. Come on, let's do it. You know what? And also shout out to Pedro for the donation. I appreciate it, man. You should ask a question, man. If that's a quick way to get a question up there, is to donate it. And
Pedro,
good job. Woo! We need the money thing, like from Jay. I almost asked him to join us tonight, man, because I was like searching. I was like, got to get somebody in here. Maybe a couple people. I don't know, but this is look.
Graphic God would talk your ear off, man.
He would. Hey, it's me, Graphic God. Watch Retro Renegades. It's great. So I love Graphic God. He's awesome.
Yo, he's the man.
He does great. He does great stuff. So we all think Playground Games is a good thing, right?
Of course, it was a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
Like, I didn't even look at it as big news because I thought it was going to happen eventually anyway. But
that's the camp I was coming from, and it's not to belittle it at all. And I really want to stress that this is a big. First of all, it's not confirmed, but it's all but. And it is an Xbox. You nailed it right there. It is a fantastic deal. It's something Microsoft should have done. It's the same thing when people are like, "Oh my God, Phil bought Gears," and I'm like, "No shit."
Well, I know you say that, but the funny thing was,
I know. You're right.
Before that, people were like, there was rumors that there was a Gears collection on PlayStation.
Yeah.
And like I mean, that would you know what I mean? Like I know that's very console fanboyish. But that, you know what I mean? Like,
that would be like God of War over there. Xbox, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah, well, exactly. You don't like. It's one of those things. It's like I don't mind PlayStation having their things, Xbox having their things, but keep them on the things, right? So it's just an interesting thing. And somebody mentions, hey, did you know Quantic Dreams isn't owned by Sony? Yeah, and they went to Microsoft, and it's well documented with. The pitch for Heavy Rain, and Microsoft did not like the idea. Wanted them to change some things. Wow. Yeah. So then they went to Sony, and Sony's just like, okay, you can kind of do what you want. So, yeah, that's why. Like, look at the subject matter that we're not going to really delve into it, but a lot of adult subject matter in those games. Right? There are 3 games that they have. There's a lot of adult in there. So Microsoft doesn't want
attention right there, man.
What? Huh? Yeah, Microsoft doesn't want any part of that. You know what I mean? Like they don't. I wish they did. Because I love those games, man. I love Detroit. I don't love Beyond Two Souls or Heavy Rain. Ugh, those. Right. You can't really go back and.
Yeah. See, I thought about once I finished Detroit going back and playing Heavy Rain.
Beyond Two Souls is okay, but
Beyond Two Souls, yeah. Like I know, we have both of them.
Yeah. What were you saying, Salty?
Yeah, the thing about Playground Games, I'd never at a certain point thought it was a for sure thing that Microsoft was going to lock them up like Xbox. Like when I heard the news, I was elated because honestly, with Microsoft's track record, they've kind of let studios walk. They didn't, snatch them up when they should have. Especially when I was playing Destiny, got back into it. I was playing it and I'm like, damn, this game's just awesome. I was just thinking about Bungie,
You're getting
Bungie and all that stuff, But if you look at it, if people want cold hard facts that Microsoft is invested in gaming, because we've heard all the rumors, right? We've heard the $1 billion thing. We've heard it. Hey, we're investing more. If you want cold hard facts, this is one of them. This is a proof that they're moving in that direction, that Microsoft actually cares about gaming, is because they had their studio, a developer that's an up and coming studio, and they snatched them up.
Yeah.
So if you guys want, this is just going to continue forward. I look for trends when I look at things, right?
Yeah.
We got change in leadership. We got Booty. We got Gallagher. We got the new studio in California. They're setting that up. Then they're snatching up Playground Games. Like, you need to look at the trends when it comes to Microsoft.
Right.
And know that they're investing. So that's why it's great news, So
Yeah.
I think Salty just nailed it right there.
You did. And I always look at one of the biggest studio mess ups that Microsoft did was not getting BioWare, right?
Oh yeah.
No, and crap, I hate to interrupt you, but really, if you're going to start that sentence, you got to end it with what I think Salty already said. Their biggest flub was not locking down Bungie, period.
Yep.
Oh, I think Steve Ballmer threw a chair at somebody or something, didn't he?
Dude, you know what's funny? You told me that crap, and I thought about a chair, and after all these years, it would have been a larger object than a chair.
No. However, what was the story? Didn't he throw it, or maybe it wasn't Bungie, maybe it was something else. But...
No, it wasn't Bungie. It was this guy. It was actually a developer for Windows who was there for I don't know, it was something like 12 or 15 years or something. And he goes in and gives his resignation to Steve Ballmer and is like, I'm moving to Google. And supposedly Steve Ballmer stood up and threw his chair at him and kicked him out of his office and cussed him out, went on this big rant.
Yeah, Ballmer is crazy, man. He's crazy. But I like this move. That way other people can't come in there and swoop him out from underneath of them. And I can't say this enough. If it wasn't for the Forza Horizon games, Microsoft's portfolio is dog trash for the most part this gen. Forza Horizon 3 literally is one of the main reasons why anybody bought an Xbox One that year, right?
It's true.
It's unfortunately, this generation, I feel like a lot of quality titles have been hampered by certain things, whether it was resolution or and stuff like that. So they weren't really able to shine because of that whole console war thing going on and talking about overall resolution.
It's the console war thing. It was the resolution thing. It's also the fact that a lot of consumers don't know what the hell they want. Let's be honest, right?
They're listening to everybody. They're like, oh, man, I guess 720p is trash. So we're not getting quantum break.
720p, of course, it's unplayable. Y9 Power says, will we get a Yoshida E3 skit again this year? Hilarious. Excellent show, my friends. Me and Mooch are working on MNC mornings for this Sunday, which is E3, and then there's going to be multiple things all day. So
don't worry, I'll show you all in the chat on that MNC morning because I don't work this Sunday. So.
I know. So yeah, you'll be around. Brian Baker, Delirium Blades, Mr. PC says, "What's up?
Mr.
I hope
PC.
Phil." Yeah, he goes, I hope Phil isn't on stage. Let Booty shine.
Guys, just to let you know, he does have a nickname. He is known as Mr. Positivity of Xbox Live. That's who Brian Baker is, man.
I'll always remember him as the guy that me and Mooch made get off the PC to play Gears 4. We told him to get on the Xbox. He was playing Gears 4 on PC, and we were like, get off the PC.
Like, get off the PC. He's like, all right, I'll be right back, guys. I'll be right back. That was great.
He says, "What's XBN stand for? Xbox Nation, folks."
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Rand is in the chat. Rand says, Bungie was walking regardless. He says to let him go and got 10% of the studio in exchange. That's fine. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't sitting there in the room, but I mean, at some point I would have said, listen, Bungie, you are single-handedly responsible for our largest title. They're still responsible for their largest title going now. Which has been handed over to 343, of course, with many Bungie employees that did come over. Let's keep that in the mainstream, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, realistically, I would have just said, listen, I got news for you. Someone told me this, that's a very successful business person that I know in my life. And I was young, and I said, well, they're not for sale. And they turned to me and they said, everything is for sale for the right price. So when Bungie was going to walk, Microsoft at the time was a real tyrant. they should have just not let them go. Even if they're like, literally, if I'm barging out the door and you're like, Mooch, don't leave. Whatever you do, don't leave. I'm like, I'm out of here, crap. That's it. I'm out. And you're like, listen, 20 million. I'm out of here. I'm not doing Xbox Station again. 75 million. My taxi's outside. I'm leaving. 250 million. All right, where's my chair? Listen, there's always a price. And I understand that Bungie was leaving, but I think it was more of not allowing Bungie the freedom to be Bungie. And that's something Microsoft should have let them do.
Holding out. You went from 20 million to over 200 million.
That's the Mooch's word a lot, okay?
In corporation, it's just not even as much as saying, hey, I'm going to offer you X amount. I mean, there's a thing called hostile takeovers where you go and buy out other people's shares. Yeah, like and just slowly take over the company.
Good point.
I mean, that's
good point.
I mean, you don't even have to. It's I mean, like if a company is like, yeah, I don't want to be bought out, there's always a way if they're publicly traded. I mean, that's that simple.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, you're not wrong. I mean, that's a smart way to go about it. I think that it would have been smart to keep. I wish they would have had Bungie. And I bet Bungie wishes that Microsoft would have still had Bungie because
because that division's not cool.
Yeah, and now they're like, and apparently they sold off like some of their stock to another company, and now they're making another game too. So
yeah, they sold off 10% to some Chinese developer.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah,
and they're making a game for them or whatever. So is it Tencent or is it another company?
I can't remember. It's probably a mobile game.
The name of the company, but the cost up front is like a fraction of what they're used to, so it looks like it's going to be kind of like a smaller title or whatnot. But
yeah, it could be like a mobile game or something even like that, because that's what for those countries, like a lot of those countries, it's a lot of mobile gaming and stuff that's real big.
Yeah. I think it's just a minor stake in the company, right?
Yeah, it is. It's not controlling.
Yeah. So. I think it's very interesting. So, you know what? There was literally something that just broke, and I'm trying to look at it. Sources delayed. Microsoft delays Crackdown
after that 275 million.
Right?
No, hold on. Yeah. Well, this is according to Kotaku. Microsoft delays Crackdown 3 to 2019.
Oh, it broke just now?
Not surprised.
Yeah, just like
literally. We knew that was coming. I mean, we've been saying that for a while, and my God, I think it's been on.
String is very thin with me now, guys. You know me when it comes to
listen. Let me just say something right now on the air. That is the best news we could have gotten this E3 week. Thank you, thank you, and thank you again. Because you know what? I said it on RDX last night. I'll say it again tonight. Okay, that game needs to be delayed indefinitely. Because Microsoft is between a rock and a hard place. I said it last night. I'll say it again. It's very important for all you fans here. They can't cancel it, okay? And it can't come out mediocre. It's got to be stellar. So here's the deal. Let them take their time. Let them put their money into it, okay? Apparently the checkbook's open, so money's no object at this point, even though I think it's too late. But nonetheless, let them have their time. Let that thing bake and give us the best Crackdown 3 you can. Because even though Crackdown 3 is no Halo in the first party crap, right now everybody is holding Crackdown 3 to a very, very high standard, and it is a bookmark and report card for the Phil Spencer administration.
You know, Mooch, I'm no doom and gloom. You know this, man.
No, I understand that.
It's just that when it comes to delays, like I've talked about the PS4 and all the delays that had beginning of this generation, moving into the middle and whatnot. And I can't just like, do about face right now because you guys know me. Crackdown, because of me and my son, it's a franchise that's really close to my heart. But I gotta say it, when you delay it multiple times, like they are now catching up to Sony in terms of delays from the beginning of this generation. You see what I'm saying?
So, and it comes at I mean, look, it is what it is. I think we all kind of expected this. That's why we weren't hearing anything. The game's got to be better. So
yeah.
I mean, I was expecting it already. I wasn't expecting to play that game this year to begin with.
If you think about it, when would have come out this year and not done horribly? Like, look at the titles coming out at the end of the year. It would have got destroyed. Like, when are you going to release the game, right?
Right.
And that's another problem, too, with games this year, especially like Microsoft can't announce it. They already had something to say. They just had something in development nobody knew about. they can't release it at the end of the year because there's so many big games.
Yeah, it would have
You're
got
not going to be able to do anything.
Trampled.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I had to go through hoops to even read that because Jason has me blocked. I don't even know what I ever said to that guy. I don't know, but yeah, apparently on Twitter he's like.
So getting back to it, when Aaron Greenberg, he was like, "Oh, it was a mistake on Amazon's side." Another time in my comment section, I got raked over the coals. Oh, this is fake news. Microsoft came out and said it wasn't delayed. I was like, if you read if you read what Aaron Greenberg said, he said it wasn't. You know, it was an error on. It's not canceled. All these people were saying it wasn't canceled. That's not what I said. You know, he didn't say it wasn't going to be delayed. So at that point, I knew. I was like, nah, this is delayed.
Well, yeah, nobody said it. Nobody commented a thing about the delay. So
yeah, in fact, he avoided that, and then you know, you just gotta figure it. Here's the figuring to that anyway, right? When would you release it?
Yeah, that's
just honestly.
It would have to come out. It would have to be in August, and we all know August just wouldn't do well.
Yeah. I am not a fan of the fear Call of Duty thing. Now I know Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out, and I know that's going to be, you know, a lot of sales that way. But around the holidays, how many kids ask for just one game? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
if you look at the
multiplat. Yeah.
look at the cold hard numbers when it comes to how many people buy how many no, like if you look at how many games people actually buy a year,
there's at least 3
statistically. It's like two titles a year.
Well, let me ask you guys this question, right? Because so allegedly, and again, we don't know. Again, this is even not confirmed by Microsoft. Everything's just not confirmed until Microsoft.
This is just according to them inside sources that won't be.
Yeah, which it could be right. Like
Jason Schreider is pretty accurate.
Yeah, I mean, Kotaku's right. Sometimes they're wrong. Sometimes, I mean, likely it is. It's probably delayed. But here's the thing: rumor has it that Microsoft had some other kind of quote unquote cloud-powered stuff to show off. Does not having Crackdown released this year? Do you still think they're going to show that stuff or talk about it? I mean, why would you talk about that when your de facto when your de facto thing still isn't released?
I mean, at this point, I think Microsoft's just try to put out whatever they can. So if they can show off something that's even better looking or does something similar to what Crackdown does and have it released sooner, then
they still might show the multiplayer side of that with.
You can still get a beta, you know. I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you definitely still get a beta as well. I'm actually gonna hold out my hope for that right there because what we've been hearing, the multiplayer has been working fine. They just wanted to add modes and
I think
fill out the story more.
I think it's more than that, Xbot. I think that story's gone by the way the dodo bird now. This thing needs money, time, effort. It needs everything. I don't think it's just a mode at this point. I think it's and that's okay. I'm not. It's not doom and gloom.
2 years, if they're taking 2 extra years from when it was supposed to release,
it means
they're
doing
ready. Something. Yeah, they're doing something drastic, like possibly going back,
engine changing, potentially even at that.
Right,
that could be it too. Right,
that's great. That's good news.
So, you guys think that they should still show stuff at E3? I think they should.
I do.
I think they should put a press release out right before E3 because then it will get the announcement out, and then people will be pissed, and then they'll forget about it because all these other announcements will come out.
They better have something good.
Right?
Well, like people are going to be kind of pissy about this, right? Like for me.
You gotta show, I would say show something, right, Crap? I mean, you gotta show something. You
gotta have some stuff, otherwise people are gonna be angry. But look, let's look on. I'm gonna look on the Xbox side. Next year is gonna look really good. Crackdown 3, possibly Gears of War 5, maybe some kind of Halo game, maybe a Forza game, maybe something. It's gonna look great, fellas. It's gonna be awesome.
Maybe a Forza game. We know damn well there's gonna be a Forza game next year.
Oh, I know. Come on, guys, hit that like button, man. 750 watching, only 200 likes. Come on, man. You gotta like the show better than that. We got Mooch back.
Right.
That's worth at least
$275 million is what it's worth, Crap.
Exactly.
Right? Oh, they're allergic to the thumbs up sometimes, man. It's
I know, man. You gotta always be like, hey.
No, this is an exciting week. We are at E3 week. The reason we podcast all year is for this week. So you've got an excited panel. You've got an exciting week. The news. Listen, news like this is usually devastating. I got to tell you, I'm relieved to hear Crackdown's coming out next. Well, again, it's not confirmed. Rumor. a good rumor from, like I said, if it's just Kotaku and it says, rumor, but if it's Kotaku and it's Jason Schreier, I really do believe his sources are pretty much right from the Xbox cabinet. So I think that's going to happen, and I think this is great news for you if you're a Crackdown fan, because Crackdown coming out in August, the way it was probably not going to be good, and we all just said we don't need to harp on it again. Crap, September, October, November, it would have got trounced. So next year,
maybe it comes out early next year. Maybe March,
I would think so.
Like it could come out spring next year. But honestly, of course, it's not a good look. Shout out to Rand, because he said maybe do a press release for it beforehand or whatever.
Right.
Smart thing to do. I wonder if Microsoft was just planning to do, okay, here's where we're at with Crackdown 3, reintroduce it. Here's the multiplayer. You're going to get a beta, and to make it the absolute best, it's releasing spring next year.
That would be great. That'd be great.
Yeah, I would like to see whether single player they show up there or the multiplayer. That's
they need
up to
to
them.
show the multiplayer.
They need to show something.
Yeah.
They need to show something, not just Terry Crews screaming.
Step your boob up. Yeah, I mean, come on.
We need to
that's
see
sold me, but I can understand why it wouldn't sell other people on it. So
right.
I'm excited to see what they have. It's not the worst news ever, to be honest with you. So we gotta keep it.
I'm hoping for a beta, man. That's what I'm hoping.
Hey, it could end up being for the best. You know what I mean? It could. So let's talk about this. Brad Sams said that Microsoft will announce Halo Infinity at E3, but gave no details about what it is. If you don't know who Brad Sams is, he's a guy that works for Thoreau.com. He basically really is in touch with the Microsoft.
Microsoft.
Yeah. So he was the guy that was doing a lot of interesting stories around the Scorpio time.
Yeah, Scorpio stuff.
So, but he had a lot of Scorpio stuff. I remember at one time, like, he was doing videos on Scorpio and was drawing huge crowds, and like he would never usually do that because he does videos all the time and never draws a crowd. And then when he does that on Scorpio, he draw a big crowd, and we actually would get and then do videos off of based on what he was saying. So I didn't even have him on your show.
Yeah, he was on Crossfire. I speak to Brad. I had my friends list on Xbox Live. He's a good guy. He knows what he's doing. His sources are also like Jason's. They come legitimately. That's why when I saw it come from him, but he did say take it with a grain of salt. But he did hear something reliable. He doesn't just get on there and be like, guess what? This. So he says stuff. I think listen, the rumors right now are what, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I know we have the largest Xbox, the largest Halo fan in the world. But I heard it could be Halo Reach in 4K. It could be ODST.
Battle Royale.
It could be but here's the thing, right? We've heard that. Haven't we heard basically we're not going to get a Halo Battle Royale?
You guys are missing something in the title. Infinity. That's the name of the ship from Halo 4 and Halo 5.
What's that mean, though? Hold on.
That's the ship where they started the new kind of like the new Spartan program.
Okay.
That's where you get your kind of like red versus blue. You get your multiplayer and stuff like that. It's all done on the Infinity ship. So to me, it's suggesting something that's all multiplayer, dealing with like the new Spartans. I'm thinking it's an all multiplayer type game.
So you're saying it could be a battle royale game?
It could be actually, man, because that's all multiplayer. New rec packs, new weapons, stuff like that. That can hold it down for a while.
Yeah, well, what if it's like a battle royale where it's like they're fighting each other, but it's kind of like the war room, like an X-Men's type situation. Well,
that's what the multiplayer is in Halo. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's a war room. It's all kind of like hologram stuff like that.
Let me pay the bills. Roman Soldier 572 says Xbox VR, Final Fantasy VII, PS4 exclusives become not exclusive. Xbox VR, I don't think so. No. I think they're holding off until they got some wireless stuff. Final Fantasy VII
was never going to be an exclusive.
Well, Sony fans thought it was.
Sony fans thought right? Because Square Enix even came out and said that it was going to be a launch launch exclusively.
Yeah, I hate those terms, man. But
not that it was going to be an exclusive game. We already knew it was coming to Xbox.
Yeah,
I mean, and we already knew that. Like that would be stupid for them not to.
The way people talked about that game, though, you thought it was a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah, that's in all their lists. They won E3 that year. Well, quotations won based off of that and Shenmue 3, which we haven't had either of those yet, by the way. Well, do they still win that E3 retrospectively? I don't know. I'm just saying. And listen, this is what Square's the CEO of Square said about what they're going to do going forward. Growth in the number of platforms, meaning multi-platform, is basically a good thing, and we intend to further advance our multi-platform approach.
Well, look at how well Final Fantasy 15 sold on the One.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
so
extremely well.
And there's been rumors that stuff like Nier might come to Xbox as well.
I mean, that stuff most likely will, because if you look at what's coming out, there's been like Sega's releasing more and more JRPGs on Xbox. I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming out, so it's
you look no further to Monster Hunter, how that sold on the platform.
Excellent.
And it's just, people see the Xbox sales numbers and they're like, well, whatever it is, 30 million, 35 million, that's still millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Technically, there's no sales numbers, and I believe it's more into the 40s, to be really honest.
Whatever it is, Xbox, that's still numbers, right, for these businesses. So they don't want to lose out on that extra money.
It's still good numbers too, man. Like what we're seeing on the PS4 side, let's just be honest, ever since the Wii, before that, we never really saw numbers like this. You know what I'm saying?
What is that?
What's happening?
Happy 4th of July!
Hey!
He's pre-gaming.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's funny.
He's pre-gaming.
So Xbot, like you were saying, because you know the most of Halo and of anybody here, I'm going to assume. So you're saying that Infinity you would assume that, and we'd heard that they were possibly working on a. Remember, Mooch? We were kind of arguing about it.
The ship that's out on the lam right now, running from Cortana.
Okay, so multiplayer. You probably maybe to tide people over, right?
Yeah, you get like new rec packs, like I said, new weapons, stuff like that. They can go back in and do kind of like what they did with Halo 5 in terms of the multiplayer. Put this game out and every month have content drop, all while they're ironing out everything for Halo 6. I mean, that would be a bold move, but that would be a really good move if Halo 6 was really pushed back like that far. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
so I think that we could see a year towards that ends this year where we get Halo Infinity this year, and then also like the Forza Horizon 4. Not terrible. I mean, not great, but better than nothing.
Dude, here's the deal. A lot. I like the Halo like story. You know what I'm saying? I like the person stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I only played through the story like maybe 3 times.
Yeah.
And I have more than like 3 months of in-game time on Halo 5, and that was pretty much all multiplayer. So that would be a good, if they can get that out, if they can have fresh maps, because I feel like Halo 5, they went back to putting out classic maps and stuff like that, memorable maps like Plaza and stuff like that. If they can do that again and then work on Halo 6 in the meantime, but put out like that fresh multiplayer content, they'll be fine, man. Fine.
Irrelevant says Halo Infinity is the Master Chief Collection revamped. Like,
wrong.
See, it could be that, and they take the Master Chief Collection out of it because they're putting in Halo Reach, which Halo Reach doesn't have the Master Chief in it. You see what I'm saying? So they would have kind of change the name, maybe.
So basically, instead of doing, actually, I think Irrelevant may be onto something. I think maybe what it could be, if it's not the Battle Royale thing, which I totally don't think it is. I think it's what you guys said. It'll be Halo Infinity will be all the Halos without Master Chief, ODST, Reach.
Well, they already gave us ODST though.
They gave it to you, but they're going to put it in this collection. They'll throw it in there. Maybe they'll throw a little. You know what I mean? And I think that'll be 4K 60.
I've heard the revamp thing a couple of times. I've heard throughout the past couple of days. So one thing I heard was it's revamp. They're trying to lose the Master Chief Collection name just because that kind of has a bad taste in people's mouths because of the whole multiplayer fiasco when it launched and that sort of thing.
So it'll be everything, right?
Okay. Yeah, relaunching it with Reach and ODST and everything all in one, and maybe even packaging Halo 5 in there with it.
I've heard that too.
That was the rumor that was going on, but who knows? The person that said that rumor, we're not going to give him any shine. But
something about this battle. Somebody in the chat said, "Who cares about Battle Royale? It's boring." Yeah, well, 7 people playing 7 million.
7
million people playing H1Z1 right now. You got Fortnite, which is kind of like the hottest game at the moment.
It's making the most money. PUBG's got probably 5-6 million people playing it on Xbox.
Just on Xbox, and multiple millions on PC. It might be boring to you, but to the actual community out there, it is the hot thing right now, man.
Yeah. It is. Like I know it does suck. Just like when people hear the term games as a service, they flip out. But the hottest game going right now is Fortnite, and that's a game as a service.
Yes. Right.
So in fact, if like I said, I was watching Did You Know Gaming about it, and they said they specifically went after gaming as a service. And wait till this game hits Switch. Right? Yeah. Like, can you imagine the people wanting to play it on the Switch?
I'm not going to lie to you. That's something that I'm going to be there today because you know it's going to be able to be playable on with your Xbox game. You know,
So
like to be able to play it with my if I can play it with my Xbox username, right, and then I can also play it on the go. That's huge.
Well, you know what the cool thing about that is that since the Switch already has that haphazard setup for voice chat. And you can just voice chat through Xbox Live because the app allows you to do it now.
As soon as the cool thing about that is I knew something like that was coming, man.
That really does. And you know, it's funny. A couple people did videos on it. I think that in essence, Fortnite could be Switch's killer app.
Not only that, Mooch, hey, you're 100% right. Supposedly, there's Nintendo exclusive content on that, like skins and stuff. Yeah, right. Imagine that. Like,
I'd be down for buying some of that.
I mean, that's a game that really will play well on that, and that's a game you want to play on the go. That's a game you want to play while you're traveling. That's a fun game that you can just pick up and put. Listen, a lot of people are like, I brought my Switch with me, and I really started getting into Skyrim at the airport. Stop it. Just stop it. That game is 400 hours long. I
purposely avoided buying Skyrim for that reason, because it's like I'm out. I'm like, I don't want to play.
No, but Fortnite, you know, who gets to the airport 3 hours early? You get there, you're an hour early if you're lucky, and then you get there. If you got 25 minutes to kill, you pull the Switch out, play a couple games of Fortnite. That's awesome. It is novel for that. I think that's very good. I think crossplay will finally be pretty cool with that. Between Xbox and Nintendo. I think that's a huge merger there. So I don't know. I think that's a very positive thing. I know we're not going to talk about Switch, but that is very big for the Switch.
Well, I mean, you know, it's like here's the thing. I think we all have a Switch here, except for Xbox. I like it.
We had one, okay, but we decided we are going to trade that in so I could get my Project Scorpio over here.
I hear you, dude. I mean, I wouldn't argue that, to be honest with you. So, so Matt Booty, the head of Microsoft Studios, did an interview, and a lot of people ran with this different. I think I took it a little bit differently than some other people, because he said flat out, single player games that last 20 to 30 hours are good. They're still going to be there. Yeah. And then he said, but they're also looking at, you know, the trends with the service games and how people want to play with their friends and communities. And then he mentioned something that a lot of people were taking as a negative, which was, how can you do a big AAA game without having a year or two content plan for it? And a lot of people go, well, that's all strictly games as a service. I'll disagree with that and say Shadow of the Tomb Raider is a good explanation of how that's not games with a service. It's got its content planned out for over a year.
Yeah, right. And you can also look at if you want to go even farther, right? Like to everybody's like poster child of, I'm not the typical gaming company. CD Projekt Red with The Witcher 3, they had all that DLC and everything planned out for about a year or two.
It's called the roadmap, people. Yeah. What you do. It's
had nothing to do with.
It's how you give out new content to a game that is really popular and keep it like fresh with the gamers. It's not anything that's just a games as a service.
Exactly. Hey, Kmore941 says Microsoft announcing a third-party exclusive game would be epic. Any chance that Booty can make it happen?
It's not Booty that's going to make it happen. It's Phil that has to greenlight that ultimately. And I'll tell you right now, we already know that's not in Phil's wheelhouse. He doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, like I'm not sure, but hey, but Mooch, is that Phil that really doesn't want to do that, or is it that Phil didn't have the budget previously to do that?
Listen, I have to just completely stand back. Here's my No, that was Donnie. But listen,
no, that was Phil said that was his deal.
I don't think so. But listen, here's my whole thing. I really think that ultimately, when it comes down to it, I think that Microsoft not wanting to go and grab those things, and you did a video on it today, you did it in terms of content. this question from K-More is more in terms of grabbing the game itself. If they're not going to go grab hats, skins, and gear for games like Anthem, you're not going to get them to lock down Shadow of the Tomb Raider or anything else coming out. So Microsoft just doesn't see it that way anymore, and I think that's a problem because they think they're ultimately doing better for the gamer. But we've said this a number of times on all the shows: is that what they're doing is they're taking content away from their gamers.
Well,
so
here's the thing: a third-party developer making an exclusive game, that's called a second-party development cycle, right? It's second party is what it is, because you have third party developer making a platform exclusive title. You saw what happened with like Scalebound and other titles like that. They went that route. They went to Insomniac and you know, Sunset Overdrive. They went to Crytek and you got Rise out of it. You got, and they said that they're moving away from that and they're developing their first party studios. So that's what I'm looking to see. You know, they're tying down Playground. I want to see them go out and either build up or acquire a couple more studios and see them kind of develop from the end.
And that's fine, Xbot. But listen, realistically, you got to look at a game like you do have to look at a game like Bloodborne, where Sony. Yes, I know Sony owns. They went out and did it, but they went and grabbed From Software and had them make that. Phil needs to go grab and they did do it earlier this generation with
Scalebound too, and look what happened, man.
No, you're missing my whole point. Yeah, but they went to Platinum Games. Platinum Games, okay. Listen, Sony went to Macy's and Xbox went to Kmart. All right, like thank you, everybody. Thank you.
We're gonna get Jay to do that, man, on MSC, like a Moochism Bell or something.
Absolutely, I don't mind that. You know, Sam Dillinger in the chat and Chris Bernard, they're like, "Come on, Mooch, cheer up." It's not about. I already said that. I said that I'm not cheerful. I'm actually pretty pumped up. Crap will tell you, I'm more excited tonight than I have been in the past few weeks. I like the direction Microsoft's going, but when a question gets asked, like, you know, how come, you know, you're down on this or that? It's not that I'm down on it. Phil's already said I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to go out and buy content. I'm not going to go buy exclusive games. He's not going to do that. So Matt Booty works for Phil. So Booty can't be like, surprise, Phil! Well, it's not going to happen. It doesn't work like that. It's not how the business works.
I get you. I get what you're saying, but I do think that Booty would have a little bit of more say-so in that. Like I think
maybe Phil, talk him into something, right, Crap?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? Like, even though Phil said that, like with content, Phil got Dead Rising 4 for a year, you know, and that was definitely Phil. So I think that I think that they easily could, and I think we're going to get another Dead Rising announcement this E3. So
yeah,
I forgot all about that.
No, Dead Rising
3, like that.
Yes,
style.
Yeah, I hope so. You know what? Because they went the Microsoft route. It was like Microsoft funded Dead Rising 4. I liked it, right? But it was like super cheap in comparison to 3, in my opinion, right? Like 3. All the zombies look different. They had that zombie generator.
Really dark, really gritty. You had
it was still funny, but yeah, it was pretty dark. Yeah. So I liked it though. I mean, you know, of course, here's the bad part about this is, unfortunately, and this is the thing that's kind of annoying as an Xbox fan. Everybody's going to run with this Crackdown 3 situation, right? And people are just going to be like, oh, they should just cancel it, or they should do this, or
no.
You know,
there's people out there that don't want the game to succeed. There's people out there that doesn't want Xbox to succeed as well. So you're going to hear that on social media, and I think we as a gaming community need to kind of take all that stuff and push it to the side. We're allowed to be excited about stuff, even if it's not the narrative that's being written at that time. And I think we as a community need to kind of come together and just be excited about the games that we have, the announcements that are coming. It's E3. We're going into E3. Everybody should be hyped right now. You know
what we should do, Xbox? We should wait till E3. Like, a lot of people are like, you're pretty relaxed, Crap. Like, what's the deal?
Dude, that's like the box right there, man.
I'm like, look, we are literally a few days away from E3. Yeah. Why would I panic and flip out right now?
Not now. No,
like that would make absolutely no sense to do that.
Yeah, the time to panic and flip out is Microsoft just went up there and basically showed nothing, and then we're like, had no roadmap, and it was just like, that's it.
Yeah, like, you know, we'll know more after E3, and it's not damage control. It's just the truth. Like, we can't just sit there and go, oh, this is a fact, or this. Like, let's wait and see what they announce and what happens. You know, if it's bad, we'll say it's bad, and they need to do more. If it's great, I'm going to say it's great. You know, there's not.
I guarantee you on social media, the people that are saying that the game should just be canceled, if you gave them a truth serum and they had to tell the truth,
like they didn't want to play it anyway.
Did you even give a shit about this game? They get that truth serum. They'd be like, no, okay, we get it now. And it's just like, hey, what about The Last Guardian and all these other games that had all these delays? We didn't hear people out there, hey, you guys should just cancel it. It's like, no.
Dude, I had somebody on Facebook tell me for 3 years straight that Persona 5 was coming out. It didn't come out until a year after I stopped listening to him. Yeah.
Like, hey, it's coming out. Don't worry. Look, sometimes games take time. Like I said, Fortnite got announced in 2011, released in 2017. So, and it's not even officially released yet. It's still in what is that, preview or whatever it is. So anything can happen. It's not the worst news. It just means we're gonna get a better game, and hopefully that's good. State of Decay 2 hits 2 million players. Mooch, this is impressive. You were impressed. You were like, whoa, crap, I'm impressed.
I don't think I said that at all. No, what I said was I was impressed that they actually launched the numbers when they're doing it. This is a strategic attack by Microsoft, and I don't blame them. If I worked for them, I would be doing the same thing. As far as sales go, I think it's great. They did the same thing with, if you remember when Sea of Thieves, remember, crap, you're on this huge Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then all of a sudden they're like, Sea of Thieves, we have over 1 million people playing it, or whatever it was, 2 million people playing it. It's amazing, blah, blah. And now we don't hear anything about Sea of Thieves numbers, because what they do is they mention the player-based numbers right after the new game comes out in Game Pass. And that's when the numbers jump. Everybody puts $10 down. We say this all the time. It's good for gamers. It's pro-consumer. It is. It really is. But the thing is, though, I don't really appreciate Microsoft only mentioning Game Pass numbers right after Sea of Thieves and then right after State of Decay. Do me a favor, Microsoft. Let me know how many people are on this week, and then I want to know how many people are on July 15th when not a new game comes in.
What happens if they announce that they've had, say, 5 million on Sea of Thieves at E3 when they show off, like, the DLC? Like,
well, it all depends. Here's the thing, crap. You said it yourself when Game Pass was revealed, right? When they said the games were going to go in there first day and date. Yeah. We don't know anymore. What does that mean? You don't know what that means anymore. It's not like copies sold. So does it mean it's bad? I'm not saying it's bad. All I'm saying is that I think what Microsoft's doing, okay, and you Sony fans that are in the chat are really going to like this one. I think Microsoft's doing a little smoke and mirrors with their Game Pass.
Adding their stats.
They are.
That's exactly what they're doing.
But
right? And I don't blame them from a business perspective. I don't blame them.
If that's what they care about, and I mean, if that's the only thing they care about is the players and the active users, then I mean, if they're fine with it, then I think
care about those ham sandwiches.
Well, those numbers are creating credibility for two things: for the game and for Game Pass. Now, if you look at Netflix, they're established, right? Everybody knows Netflix, but there are low periods when, you know, their shows aren't coming out, or the shows that are coming out aren't catering to a wider range of audience. Now, but at the end of the day, even at the low points, you know, they're making money off that deal. So when Mooch is like, I want to see what the numbers are in July, middle of July, they are going to be lower. But if they're still bringing in money off of that revenue stream, then it's still profitable to them. And I believe they said on RDX, it's the first year really for Game Pass. So Mooch, you even said it's in its infancy.
I don't know. I think it's funny because, you know, we're talking about that Microsoft cares about active users. Well, not too long ago, they cared about sales numbers, you know, so it's a perfect way to transition. It's a perfect business strategy because you could say, hey, we got 2 million players in State of Decay 2, and that's not sales, that's involved in Game Pass, and it's a muddled, you know, expression or message. So people get that 2 million term out there and they're like, oh, the game's doing good. It sold 2 million. Some people think that, right?
Right.
And then when that EA exec came out, and he's like, oh, there's only 30 million Xbox sold. Then the other guy from Xbox like, no, that's wrong information, but we're not going to tell you how many Xboxes got sold, right? So it's kind of a muddled message, and that's why people think it's a smoke and mirrors tactic, because at one point with Sea of Thieves, you guys say, oh, you know, we had this many players, and then that's not including Game Pass, but then you come out with the State of Decay numbers, and you don't say that, right? But you don't tell the consumer that because it's a business strategy. So it is smoke and mirrors. That's the plain and simple of it, right?
Yeah.
So that's just their strategy,
right,
to damage control. If you ever want to use that term, which is used way too much in this community,
yes,
it is the definition.
Way too much.
It is. And Salty, well said. Honestly,
we make fun of it too. Like we do. We're like, hey, you know, they all like the ham sandwich thing, right? Like that's something that we always kind of poke fun at.
Yeah, when every month
that's up 20%.
When Microsoft loses NPD, they're like, well, we concurrently had about 15% higher than last month's rating on people eating ham sandwiches and drinking whole milk while playing
whole milk too. Huh?
And you're like, oh wow, that's really something. Jot that down, Hellhammer, for next week's podcast. And it's like, what the hell? I mean, so yeah, I gotta be honest with you. Salty's right. The whole thing about it that just bothers me is, you know, Microsoft, don't just reveal your numbers a week after the new game goes in there. We know everyone's going to plunk down $9.99. We got it. We get it. Tell me how they're doing next month. But guess what? Next month, you're not going to hear anything about it.
I do think we're going to hear some numbers for Sea of Thieves at E3. And I think they're going to be
fine, but they're going to be convoluted.
I think they're going to be 5 to 7 million players.
Users. Yeah,
players,
users,
whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's like
PC. That includes everybody. That includes people that left.
Well, they gotta include the cheaters. Come on,
they gotta include everybody. Crap, like you said, everyone who's playing it on a potato, everything. Like you always say, everybody, right? So I mean, it is what it is, and that's true, right? And it's just it is funny because I mean, and not to give it it shouldn't be compared to. They're two different types of games, but you've got a game like, you know, God of War, that's the numbers come out and they're saying 10 million and this and that by this date and blah, blah, blah. And then you've got, you know, the computers and people on Xbox One and this and that, and everybody, and Game Pass and people who just touched it for a minute. Everybody that's done anything with CFDs, people walk by it in the store, right? They all count towards that 5 million. And that's where I'm saying I didn't like it when Sony did it years ago, and I don't like it when Microsoft does it now. It's just, to me, here's the thing. We'll talk about it. We got to talk about it because it's news. But to be honest with you, I don't get hyped over it because it's kind of artificial.
Yeah, there's also I mean, look, they seem happy with it. Like, and I'll be honest, and this is a rumor, by the way, so I just kind of put this out there. Microsoft is so happy.
Oh shit, I was muted.
That's why I got my sentences in. Awesome, Xbox. That was
exactly.
Great. Can I just say one thing? There
also go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Those numbers for developers as well, to kind of possibly get them on board for Game Pass and stuff like that.
That's a good point.
Developers, they like to see people using their game.
But developers aren't the public. They know who's actually they get numbers we don't, Xbox. But I like your point.
That creates a foundation right there. Yeah. Games will be coming as well.
But don't kid yourself into thinking that Microsoft's not happy with the numbers on their games, right? Like, in fact, they were so happy with the numbers on Sea of Thieves, they hired 100 more people to help develop content for that game. In fact, the rumor, and this is behind the scenes stuff, that they've already greenlit State of Decay 3. So, I mean, if the game's flopped, I don't know if that's a thing. You know, like, do they do that if they weren't happy with the numbers?
But crap, you have to look at it. Let's say the 2 million users is like I'm saying, just people that popped in, played it for a while, enjoyed it for 30 days. If they got that $10 from, you know, relatively close to 2 million people or maybe 1 million people, that's a good amount of money. And let's be honest, State of Decay 2 was not an expensive title. It was not an expensive title.
That's like greenlit like a $500 budget there. I mean, that could break Microsoft.
Right.
Well, hold on.
That got to be paid. That is.
Yeah, this is a great bill right here. JD Gamer says Microsoft's biggest sin wasn't Kinect, price, power, or exclusives. Their biggest sin has been their inability to control their own narrative. 100% accurate.
That's agreed. It's a leadership issue.
Yes, so that's
for about 2 months.
Yes, that's a great question. Look, Matt Booty, when he did that interview, right? I was the first one to see this interview. I had a video up within 15 minutes of that, right? Before anybody else even caught wind of it, because I took it a different way. Everybody else took it as they're not going to have exclusives. That just goes to show you that even the new blood has a piss poor way of explaining himself or making things clear. Right? Like the way he made it, to me, it made it sound like they're going to heavily invest in their current franchises, but not be afraid to take risks. And they're also going to bring single player games, the 20 to 30 hour stuff, but that they're going to have content plans for it. That's how I took it, as a good thing. Right? Everybody else is like, it's all games as a service.
They should hire
it's all games as a service.
That was just real easy, right out there, to the point, man.
Why? It's like they lawyer up before they say anything, and it's ridiculous. Just
see. And that's a problem with Microsoft as a whole, right? Like they've had that issue even stemming back before Xbox or anything, right? Like Microsoft has been so like on edge with trying to like make everything sound so official and whatever to their investors and this and that, so that nothing can be taken the wrong way from people who are in the industry or people who are investors or whatever the case may be, that a lot of their stuff gets fuddled up or lost in translation.
Yeah. Hey, you're not wrong. Like,
I mean, that's seriously what they've had an issue with, even with Windows, with everything.
Look at the beginning of this generation when people didn't know for the longest time what the check-in was or that you could play their used games. To this day, there's people that believe you can't play used games. Yeah. There was never, ever, ever, ever a point on Xbox One's life where you couldn't play used games.
I've heard the used game thing as recently as like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Literally.
Here's the thing with here's how the used game thing was actually going to work. You would have had to take your used game to an authorized place where developers would have gotten a piece of the pie, right? Like where you would have had to run it through a code thing, scanner or whatever, right? That's what it was. You still would have been able to play used games. You just wouldn't have been able to like go, hey, Hellhammer, here's my copy of my game. So basically, it would have been good for somebody like me. I like to collect games, but you didn't need to use the disc. You put your disc in, it installs, and then your disc is good for collecting, sitting on the shelf or whatever, right? Not only that, but you could have shared the game with up to 10 people. They had it was like a my 10 or whatever, right? So there was a lot of decent ideas that just kind of really piss poor execution, because you would have, what was the check-in time? Somebody said 24 hours. Somebody said a week. Somebody said 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And that is the problem. You got
nobody was on the same page, and that's the thing, right? Like, and Microsoft's had that issue forever, is that they have a hard they don't know how to explain to the general consumer what they're trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to be real concise with it.
They're afraid of legal issues. They're afraid of, hey, if I say this wrong and it's not super technical, we're going to lose investors. They're afraid of, basically all of that.
Yeah. And I get some of that, but man, don't you got PR? Don't you got somebody to like teach people how to talk a little bit? Like they're so confusing.
I just can't understand why Xbox, Microsoft, with the money they have, why they just don't hire the right people for the. Like, why is Matt Booty doing a public statement announcement? Like he's making games and making shit happen. Like he doesn't need to come out and do that.
Never had him out in front of a microphone before that.
I didn't hear a thing from Corey Balrog until after the game went gold, right? And then now he won't shut up. But I mean, like, right? But at least his job's done. Now he's touring. He's doing his thing. But like, my whole thing is like
he's bowing.
Yeah, but like, you didn't hear him 3 years ago being like, "Our shit's great. We have like 2 million people interested." No, it doesn't. Like, just Matt, do your job. Phil, do your job. Stop tweeting. Stop talking so much to the public. Hire, if you want to have public relations, instead of PR watching your rear end on who you're tweeting to, have PR do the tweeting. You know what I mean? I don't get it. Why? I don't get that. They have the wrong people in the wrong seats.
If they spent as much time making the shit happen as they did streaming random crap, tweeting random crap.
I saw more NBA Finals predictions from the Xbox staff. I saw more NBA Finals predictions from the Xbox staff than I did games news for this month of E3. Like, I don't understand. I just don't get it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everyone's supposed to have their own thing, do what they want to do. That's fine. That's cool. But then you wonder where the backlash comes from. But nonetheless, that's... I mean, there's an idea that goes by that I don't start up by Xbox, and it's like, Xbox Quick is streaming this for like hours at a time, and I'm just hey, that I don't mind. That's him. He's promoting his brand.
That's fine too. But I mean, it's still at the same time though. You got to figure, you can put some effort to making deals or whatever. I just think that what Sony does with their marketing and their media, they do better than Xbox. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. I think the problem is Microsoft's trying to get that grassroots feel to Xbox. Yeah, it just doesn't work because they're such a big corporation already, right? Like, yeah, that went out the way when they put like a message in a bottle and threw it in the ocean. Yeah.
What's facts, Salty? I can't see Jason's tweet. You're like, facts. I'm like, what? I can't see it.
He was talking about it's easy to make fun of Microsoft for delaying, stuff, but they're giving Crackdown 3 developers more time, blah blah blah. Unlike canceling stuff like Scalebound and delay, he's just trying to say, hey, cut him some slack.
Yeah, exactly. Cut them some slack, man. Come on, like, what's the deal? Let's cut these guys some slack. They're good people. They're good folk, right?
Yep.
Let's give them a little bit of
grassroots, and then crap goes folk like really hard.
They're good folk, man. Let's bring it. Let's have them. Let's let them chill a little bit. Like let's get off their back. Let's wait and see what they have at E3. Now, here is something interesting. I sent this to Mooch. I don't know if I sent it to anybody else. This isn't even on the list. So Death Stranding apparently had some gameplay details come out, right? And I'm not even going to go into this weird crap. And this is rumor as well. So, but apparently this game got delayed till early 2020 internally. That's the rumor. Like, what is your guys' thought?
Right on time? What are you talking about,
dude? You're preaching to the choir. I'm the one saying, hey, this is a situation where didn't we say that Kojima takes forever with his games?
Yeah,
exactly. Like this game wasn't going to come out anytime soon.
At least a 4, 5, 6 year dev time.
Yeah, everybody told me. Well, they're using the Decima engine, which is the engine that what the hell is that? The Killzone engine or whatever that engine is that Guerrilla Games uses, right? So yeah, it's an interesting situation to see that that's going to be a rumor. And when I saw this, and it's just like, wow, 2020, that's a little bit wild. You know what I mean? That's crazy because people were even saying that it could be surprise release this year.
No.
I just want to get this out of the way. Kojima is one of the most overrated developers out there. So.
Oh boy, your hate tweets are coming in.
Well, no, listen.
You get at me, Saltiest Gaming Twitter. You can send your salty tweets my way.
Tell them to say it's salty, right?
I love that. It's the best thing.
You're not even gonna have your Twitter's just gonna be so blowing up. You're not even gonna have it by tomorrow morning.
It is like saying one of his games is delayed is like, hey, the water's wet, the sun's rising, or something.
But nobody will make a big deal out of this, right? Like if it does turn out that it's not released anytime soon, it's not a big deal, right?
Yep. Oh yeah, no one will say
that's because they keep their kind of like projected launch dates. They keep them really close to the vest anyway. So if it's internally delayed, we didn't know when the game was coming out anyway.
The thing about it, crap, is they got the slack back in 2015. We were calling it the delay station for a while, and they earned that title back then. The thing is, now a delay doesn't impact them so much because they've got first party pumping. So
it's true, but I will point out that this game came out, or they announced the game according to this in 2015.
2 E3s ago.
Well, this says 2015, or let's see. They did a third teaser in 2017. Wow, they've already so Sony's conference during
so it would be
2016. Yeah. So you're looking at if it comes out in 2020, that's a good amount of time, right? I mean, nobody's gonna go, oh man, they should cancel that.
Right.
I
don't know. I mean, I know where you're coming from with that. My whole thing is I just think that at this point in time, we know Kojima is the Remedy of Sony. He takes 5-6 years. We know that. Like if Remedy took an extra year or 5 years with a new game coming out, we'd be like, it's Remedy. Right? So it's Kojima. But I do want to agree with Salty. I'm not a Kojima fan as far as his work. The Metal Gear games, I give them respect. I give them respect because they've been there since my youth all the way till today. So bravo to him for that. But I've never truly loved the work that he's done beyond like the first 2 Metal Gears.
Booch, let's be honest, man. You've seen him on Twitter. Right. He was traveling the world for like 3 years. Right. All these different. He wasn't making a game. So I'm thinking. This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking you're not even going to see this on PlayStation 4. I'm already thinking this is a PS5 title.
Well, they've got to release it on PS4 as well, right? Like I think you would think so, right?
You would think, but then
I mean they announced it for PS4,
no wrong, so you don't really have to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean I get what you're saying, but I still think that they've got to release this thing on PS4 as well. It could be cross-gen, right? I mean I think that's something that could happen, but I mean Again, you're right though, Mooch. They probably afforded themselves.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. If Sony right now was dry for the past 2 years or year and a half, believe me, this would be something to run with because you're like, oh my God, they needed this. It was supposed to come out. It was an unexpected this. But like right now, you're right, Crap. It's not damage control. It gets brushed under the rug because they don't need that game right now. They just don't.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, they got Days Gone. They've got Ghost of Tsushima. They've got
Spider-Man.
They got Spider-Man. I mean, you're not wrong.
Right. Don't get me wrong. I think you're right for what you want to say as far as why are you guys talking about this 3 years out? That's what Sony does. That's what I would like. I kind of, not with every game, but I would like to see Microsoft do that, to be honest with you. We sit here patiently. You see that not just in gaming, but even in anything in the world, sports, politics, gaming, everything has a media outlet that's 24/7, 365. So with people constantly talking and usually more bad than good, the point is why wouldn't Microsoft want to show their cards? Do what Sony's doing, show things far out. Because even when you have the days of doom and gloom, it's not doom and gloom because you still have a rainbow on the horizon, right? You have games coming out in the future. And right now, the reason Xbox fans don't have that, and shout out to
they don't show the future,
right? Seth Berg or whoever it is here in the chat, he says to me, he's like, Mooch, you're making it a negative, and I'm like, Seth Brog, I'm like, I'm not making it a negative. Microsoft's making it a negative. I'm just reporting it. It's not that I want Microsoft to do well. It's my preferred console, but at the same time, they're not helping. Help me help you.
Yeah.
Right? And they're not doing that. Go ahead.
You are 100% correct. I've been saying this. They need to tease the future because here's the deal. I feel like when it comes down to it, I feel like a narrative was built up by possibly a different platform's fan base. And it was brought over here because they don't show anything, past a year or anything like that. There's nothing there for people to say, check this out. Well, Fable's coming, because we might know it, being on YouTube and certain people having connections and stuff like that. But the common gamer out there with an Xbox, they don't know it. They're hoping. Right. They're hoping. So, they haven't put stuff out there. And that really helps when they do that.
Yes.
To control that narrative that, even, that bill that was.
Let me give you guys an analogy. If anybody watches baseball or coaches baseball, you're better off swinging at the pitch that you strike out on than sitting there waiting for the umpire to call strike three. At least you went out on your own accord. And my whole thing with Microsoft here is I'd rather them show their games, okay? And then, yes, there's a slip in schedule. There's a delay. Oops, there's an accidental cancellation. Things like that happen in all walks of life. Everybody goes through that. But they went out on their own by holding their cards to their chest and not showing anything. It shows that it shows a lack of confidence, and they may have a ton of confidence. They may have a ton of it, but when you don't show us anything, it shows me, I'll only speak for myself. It shows me as an Xbox fan, you don't have confidence in the games you're creating and the teams that you have in place. That's what I see. And you guys can all say, Mooch, that's a you problem. And that's fine. I'm willing to, be on the show and say, that is a me problem. But I think a lot of you feel that way too. And that's why when Crap was like, Mooch, we got Gallagher. And I'm like, what does that mean? Because I'm afraid they may never show Gallagher's work. So, I mean, I don't know what any of this means because Microsoft is so scared. Kojima, remember the picture of him and Andrew House on the couch? The 15 different angles of them shaking hands on those Twitter pictures. The next E3, we didn't see a lot. We didn't even know what was going on. We still don't know what's going on with Death Stranding. But they showed a picture. They showed a creepy thing, and they had Norman Reedus right off on a motorcycle. And we're like, that looks pretty good. I think that's the thing is I think you have to have confidence. I hope Microsoft's listening. Have confidence in yourself. Show what you're working on. We will back you up. But the thing is, you have to show us something.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you know what, Mooch? You sound like just a passionate Xbox guy. I know.
Thank you. I appreciate
like, hey, it's you sound negative, but to be honest with you, you're just a passionate Xbox guy.
Yes, I love the brand.
What we're all kind of saying, which is
I'm no doom and gloom, and I agree with him.
Yeah,
on the fact that they need to show the future, and I've been saying that as well. I'm happy for this year so far. I'm disappointed on the whole Crackdown thing, but I'm looking forward to Forza Horizon. I will be playing Destiny 2 Forsaken on my Xbox. Like, it's going to be a good year for me, but they need to show that there's stuff coming from first party in the future. That's what they got to do.
Yeah. So, you know, Microsoft can really wow. They're the only ones, in my opinion, that can wow us. You know, we already know what's coming from these other places and people, right? Like Sony, for the most part, Nintendo. Microsoft are the only ones left that they can really wow us, in my opinion, with surprises and things like that. So hopefully,
they probably don't have any leaks because they don't have nothing to leak.
Hey, Hellhammer, you bet. Wow.
Hellhammer's on a roll tonight, man.
I know, right? So, hey, here's something. I did a video about this afternoon because it kind of annoyed me. I seen people complaining about it. Red Dead 2 has some exclusive PS4 content.
Mind blown.
I know, right? Like, here's the thing. And people like blame Sony or blame Rockstar. I blame Microsoft, right? Microsoft are the ones that allow this to happen. You know, they could go out and get time content. They could have been knocking down Rockstar's door and locked this game up, right? The fact that they didn't, that's on them. They need to rethink that strategy. I hate this strategy, right? I hate it. I think it sucks. But unless everybody's not doing it, you've got to do it too.
Yeah, it's one thing to be like, oh, well, I don't want to lock out content or whatever the case may be. But if you're not doing it, then you're just basically, by not paying that money, you're locking out that content for your own console.
Yeah.
Like plain and simple.
Crap, you said it best in your video today. And there's two ways to let Microsoft know this. Verbally, or, you know, tweet them and do it professionally, folks. Please do it professionally. Let them know that you would like them to do content like they used to do with the 360. Or me and Crap have talked about it on a number of different shows. And we talk about it ourselves when we're doing, you know, pre-shows for MNC. I go, Crap, what do you think about this? Is we are contemplating possibly buying, depending on what the DLC is. Please, if it's a hat and a scarf or a different horse for John Marston's prequel,
you got a Sony horse.
I don't need a horse. Okay, I don't need a scarf or a pair of boots. That stuff I don't care about. But if it's missions, because I got burned, and you know, Xbox, me and you talk about this a lot when we play Destiny. We got burned.
One gun and one strike. Go ahead, sir.
Well, it's one gun and one strike. The gun I could care less about, but the strike bugs me because, let's be honest, Destiny is a repetitive game, and to add another strike, as little as it may be, is something. I am not going to pay $60 again if Red Dead 2 has multiple missions, you know, worthwhile. I'm going to seriously contemplate buying it on the PS4.
So here's the deal. I'm kind of confused. If you guys can help me out, that'd be good.
Sure.
So Microsoft's all about the business side, as we can tell with their messaging when it comes to active users versus sales numbers. But when it comes to the business side in video games, they choose not to lock people out with content and stuff like that. With Phil, like
they're trying to play the good boy in this situation.
His message on it, but in the end, it's a business, and you're running a business. It's a video game industry, and statistics have shown that exclusive content like this and marketing and all this other stuff works. So which one is it? Is it business, or are you trying to be friends? That's what I want to know.
Oh, thank you.
That's another case of their mixed messaging.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you want to be friends? Or do you know? Or this is old school. Probably what people. I mean, I'm more of a Beatles fan, but do you want to hold their hand, or do you want to be the Rolling Stones and spend a night together? Right. Like which one are you gonna do? You know, I mean, personally,
that was crap.
I know, right? Come on, like that.
Well, I mean, you know, shout out to the Xbox brass. They are very polite. They answer questions on Twitter. They're good people. So that being said, to answer Salty's question, in my opinion, they're there to make money. So if they're there to make money. Right. So I think this is Salty's question, saying, if this, then what? And the what is, if you're there to make money, then why aren't you buying exclusive content? Because if you can see your competitors doing it and it works, and they may go, well, listen, we don't care what our competitors doing. That's fine. That's fine.
Have to look at fine. Past.
They say they say they care about us. If you care about your own platform and your own gamers, then you have to do that, because what's happening is the only way to show Microsoft that we want them to bring something to their platform is you have to buy. I would have to go buy it for the other platform. So then at the end of the day, someone said to me, maybe it was last night or last week before I went on vacation, they said, well, Mooch, you have to understand, PS4 is going to sell more Red Dead 2 than Xbox anyway, so that doesn't show Microsoft anything. And I said, no, it actually does, because even though Microsoft may only be looking to get 30% of the Red Dead Redemption 2 money, if they see that they only get 15%, that hits. They're going to go, wait a minute, we were estimated at 30%. Well, I think people are finally
Monster
speaking
Hunter,
with their
right?
they're speaking with their wallets.
Yeah.
So,
like, did you notice? I know you want to say something, but like, like imagine, because you saw Sony had like you could play as Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn and Monster Hunter on the PS4. Like, imagine if they would have got some. It doesn't even have to be like something from Xbox on that game. You know what I'm saying? Like why not have something that Xbox fans can be excited about?
Right.
Maybe play as something from Gears or.
Oh, you didn't see Rod? Rod said something. I said, get a hold of me. I'll put somebody in from Gears. First of all, why do you have the third richest company in the world asking the people from Monster Hunter to get a hold of them? Shouldn't it be the other way around?
Capcom, yeah.
Right?
I mean, it should.
When was the last time the Ritz-Carlton in New York called you and be like, don't go to Motel 8. Give me a call.
We'll leave the light on for you too, right?
The Ritz. That's great.
I'm sorry. I just thought that was kind of funny. Also, Red Dead 2 Collector's Edition, no game. What the hell?
Yeah,
well, that's becoming the standard now, because it's also partially that's because of the digital stuff, but it's also just it's a cash grab, honestly.
I mean,
Hammer hitting a home run again, man.
Here's what I heard that maybe I didn't really think of with the multi-platform game. You don't put a game in there. That way, if you're a Xbox guy and they only have a PlayStation 1, you're not going to get that, right? If you're a PlayStation guy and they only have an Xbox 1, you're not going to get it. So if there's no game in there, it's unisex basically. You can buy it no matter what, you know.
It holds water, but ultimately
that holds water. But the problem is that when you're selling it like that, and say like you're going to sell a collector's edition for $100 normally, like, with the game, and then you still sell the collector's edition for $100 without the game.
Yeah,
there's something wrong with that, right? Like, if they're gonna do it that way and they want to do it so it's like a one size fits all kind of thing, then these companies need to make it so that either A, it's offset by the price, or B, it comes with a digital copy with a code with a token you can redeem on whatever developer website for the token for the platform of your choice.
Yeah. Hey, you're not wrong. I mean, anybody else want to chime in on this? Like this whole kind of debacle thing?
It's weird. I have a daughter that's 5. She likes Happy Meals, right? We go there to get a Happy Meal when she's hungry for food. It'd be like getting a Happy Meal and then they don't give you the food, but they give you the toy in the box. That's how it feels, right? So I don't know. It's weird.
Separately.
You're not wrong though. I mean, that's the funny part. It's like it is a little bit weird to me. That this kind of stuff happens. Maybe one day, I don't know. Like, what it seems like developers, even Microsoft, it's like everybody jumps on these trends.
Well,
they're all. Go ahead, Xbox.
This is a trend that's gonna last. To be honest with you, because the more and more, like Hellhammer said, it's one of the reasons for it is people buying digital. So that's not going to slow down. If anything, that's going to speed up. I'm not saying physical is going away completely, but if you have a huge amount of gamers buying digital, then it makes more sense to make that unisex limited edition than you play.
How much is this limited edition?
Isn't it 150 or something?
See, that's the part that bothers me is the high end of these when the physical game was in there was always 150 for the most part. Yeah. So now they're still charging 150 without the game. So it's actually a $200 kit. So I mean, or
like
210,
and still paying $60, even though it's not going through manufacturing.
Yeah,
physical disc. It's crazy.
No, there is.
Okay, hold on. I was a little bit wrong. The collector's box is $100.
Okay. All right. Well, then they at least did reduce it because something like that would have been 150.
Yeah, I mean
that's just the box, though. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. That's just right.
Here's the box.
I'm not a collector.
Play that, Jay.
Yeah.
So,
right.
We got an Xbox One X for you with everything but the Xbox One X. Right. Like, I mean, that is kind of silly. Somebody brings up the no Tetris. Dude, we had breaking news tonight. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm trying to hit as much as I can right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's a busy week. There's just nonstop news. So
yeah. Let's see here. So, so Sony And this is funny because I got to give Sony a little bit of crap for this. They hyped up their big E3 pre-week announcements, right? We've got games coming every day of the week. It's gonna be great, right? And this reminds me of Microsoft's own Inside Xbox that they're they hype up that show and then it's crappy, right? So and you know what they kicked it off with today? Tetris, like Tetris
in VR.
Yeah, VR. I mean, look, and I'm even interested.
He's gonna, Crapgamer's gonna buy it. He's gonna be like, whoa,
whoa. I do like VR, but I know like nobody else likes talking about that crap. Whoa. So, I mean, what do you guys think about that? I mean, nobody gives them shit for hyping up something and then having to be lackluster.
Yeah,
what do you guys think about like the double standard here?
I'll let Xbot or Salty go because I my answer.
Dude, I'm so used to it by now. It's like, damn, like I'm still excited for this generation and possible games that are coming out. But when it comes to like the media and promotions and stuff like that, I just kind of wish this generation would end and we can start fresh, like again, because I've gotten so kind of like numb to this type of stuff happening, to this kind of like one-sidedness that it's just like, that's exactly what I expect right now. You know what I'm saying?
It really, Salt, you go ahead.
So this is going to make people salty again, but I don't care. So here's the deal. I've said my piece on VR. I think it's niche. I know it's niche. Yes. It's fading away.
Yeah, it's
don't need any more example than Tetris in VR. This is their big announcement for VR. That's where it's going, folks. Yeah. So if you have a VR system, sell it on Craigslist. You might get a little bit more
damn it.
Than a year from now when it fades out. So that's
and I said this. I got to agree with Salty. You guys know I'm on record. Same thing. Me and Crap have fun debates about it. And don't get me wrong. Again, it's very much a niche. It's a fad. It's just something that I think is neat. It's literally for all you older guys that are listening in the chat. It's the game machine in the arcade that was $2, and you're like, yeah, you played it once. The next weekend, you're like, yeah, I tried that last week. Once you try it and you experience it, you're like, wow, that is really neat. And then someone's like, hey, do you want to put this sweat headband on again for the next 4 hours? You're like, nah. It's like, nah. I'll just sit down on my couch, relax, and play a game. 12 feet away on a 70-inch. LCD or OLED. I don't see how disconnecting yourself from the rest of society. You may do that once again, once a month, once every 2 months, but it's hard for people to swallow a $400 pill to play Tetris.
Mooch, I'm getting asked if I played VR. Yes, I've used it. But like I said before, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that I've asked multiple people that have PSVR, and I ask them, how often do you use it? And they say never. It sits next to
I am a PSVR owner. I have now not put it on since I want to say Christmas.
And that's multiple people. I've talked to at least 10
No,
people,
I haven't played. So I don't think we played Star Trek. Did we play after Christmas, Crap? Was it after?
Yeah, it was after.
I apologize then. I want to say, no, what holiday was it? Maybe it was February then. I apologize. February. It was definitely freezing and it was winter. Freezing. I remember when I got it. When I got Star Trek, it was frozen.
I play mine maybe once a week. Now, you know what I mean? Like,
God bless you.
If something comes, like if something comes out, I'll play it. Like sometimes I'll get like a code or something for one of the new VR indie games or something, and I think it's cool. You know what I mean? Like it kind of is what it is, and I do think that it's not going to completely go away. I think we're going to see more VR next gen. And probably some AR.
Well, they're saying both consoles are going to have the whole VR thing.
I don't even think that. Like, I mean, we'll see VR and stuff on there, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as hyped up as much as say like PlayStation VR and all these other headsets were.
It's probably
dying out even on the PC crowd.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the equivalent of what the cameras were to the PS camera and the Kinect. It'll be in next generation because they introduced it this generation, but I don't think it's going to be a focal point at all. It'll be just something it does also.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
It's dying out fast, even on the PC side. Like, I mean, they release a lot of VR games, but it's like nobody's playing.
You remember you used to see all those people like, what was it? It wasn't even Cliffy B was a big, huge thing on Oculus or whatever. I don't know which one he was with. And you don't see none of them talk about it now. And one of the biggest arguments I got on Twitter with somebody, and I told them years ago, I'm like, it's going to be a fad. And they're like, how dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you say that? I'm like, what? I'm like, who wants to put on a sweatbox and play Tetris and Cubert.
Even put that into perspective, right? Like they're not like on the PC side, they're announcing new graphics cards very soon, like the next generation. And there's hardly anything about VR mentioned on any of that stuff, whereas the current gen was all about VR ready,
right?
On everything.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I know where you're coming from, Crap, and I saw when it hit that peak media buzz, it deserved the credit that it got because it was that new thing. And credit to Sony. Let's give Sony a little bit of credit. Like I said, don't give Sony credit unless it's due. They have a ton of VR games. They have a lot of VR. Now, I'm not saying they're good. But they got right, but they're not good. But like Microsoft came out with Kinect 2.0, and they had like 2 games, like right. And they hyped Kinect for like
Kinect 2.0 games, man. A lot of good games.
Stop! Just because you could yell like pause in the middle of a game, right? That doesn't mean it was a Kinect game.
Kinect Sports Rivals.
Kinect, hold on.
Rivals is good.
But yeah, like so, I will give credit to Sony there. There's a lot of PSVR games, and again, they're all kind of blah.
I think I got most of them.
You have pretty much all of them. Well, the ones that are noteworthy. Yeah.
So I mean, Well, I mean, look, I say Moss. That's a good one. I mean, there's plenty of good ones. There's enough to say.
I wish you got some of those things in. And I never say this, but I wish you got some of those in physical discs so I could actually mooch them.
I know, right? It's like they do it. You know what happens is they put the. They're usually digital downloads or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it saves on the production and stuff like that. So I think that's part of the reason why they do that. So what do you guys think about Dave Bautista trying to get to play Marcus Phoenix in the Gears movie?
If he can get the voice down, I'm all for it. All for it, man.
I mean, he doesn't have to do the exact voice.
Nah.
You know,
I have to have that raspiness though. I don't like
raspiness wouldn't hurt.
I think he's a good person to play or to play the role.
Well, I mean, the voice and stuff is, but I mean, honestly, at this point, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, look, he's already playing like all the stuff. Like, if they're gonna do that, why not just have him do that and then voice over over top of it or whatever? Like, I mean, honestly, right? Like, I've always said that about video games, like issues, like. Most of these video game movies that come out, they most of the time get like unknown actors and stuff all the time to star in them, or smaller time ones. Like, get the actual voice actors from the damn games to voice over.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could. I wouldn't mind the voice. The voice thing wouldn't really matter to me. I think he would be a good choice to kind of play the role or whatever. You know what I mean?
None of these game/movies ever worked out.
Got a real mild voice though, if you really think about it. Like, you know, if he's gonna play Marcus, you need to have that raspiness.
What was this actor in before?
He's the guy in Guardians of the Galaxy. What the hell is that?
Yeah, Drax the Destroyer.
Oh,
okay. If you look at his acting chops, they're not the best, but if you look at The Rock as an example, like where he started off, he started in, wrestling, and then you look at, what was it, the Scorpion King? He was horrible, but he's gotten better. So I think Dave Bautista, he's better at this point than The Rock was.
He's got a new movie coming out too, as well. That it
looks good.
Pretty good.
It looks good. I think personally, it's just really good PR for the Gears brand. You have a dude like that going to bat for you and talking about your brand and a potential movie, and that he wants to be in it. And he's in Guardians, and that movie series is very popular, and Avengers is going on. So I think it's just great PR for Microsoft and everybody.
Now's the time to strike with that actor because, like Salty's saying, he's in the press. He's relevant. Almost everybody that's in the gaming genre that loves comic genre knows who this individual is. That's a big push because in that world, he's a big star. You go to Hollywood red carpet, not so much, but that's okay. I'd rather have him in there. You got to look at some of these. Look at Rise of the Tomb Raider, the movie that came out.
Well, did The Rock do Doom as well?
The Rock has definitely had hit or miss, but I got to agree.
Doom movie.
Yeah, but you got to give him. He did Jumanji recently. He's doing Ballers on HBO. Like
I like that Jumanji movie. That was really good.
Like, it was great.
Dude, The Rock's not bad. Like he made something of himself
in that movie. By the way,
this individual could do it. Is there somebody else that maybe sounds more like? I do agree that a lot of like we always joke around. We're like James. Like if you don't have that that voice to kind of go with it, it could take you out of it for a second. But then again, I didn't really buy that Angelina Jolie was, Lara Croft either.
I don't think anybody did.
Right?
I mean,
no. Yeah.
Hellhammer says that the new one wasn't too slick either.
No, I heard that didn't do very well.
You know what the thing is that the beginning part of it, it got better as it went, but it still wasn't like great. Like I would say it would be like solid like 7.
So basically like a Microsoft exclusive.
But
I was waiting for it.
Basically.
And with that, Mooch, I know you sent me the damn
yeah.
GIF. I didn't even get to talk about Destiny 2 yet, but whatever.
Oh, we got Crossfire. Don't worry.
Yeah. So, hey, man, whatever. I mean, the time flew by. Seriously, it did.
Yeah, that was fast.
Mooch, what do you got going on this week? I know it's E3 Sunday, so
yes,
it's we're doing that.
Huge week. We got a big week. We got Crossfire, Bigly. We got Crossfire, 7 p.m. Eastern. Special guest on. You guys are definitely gonna want to visit it. Big time.
Me.
It's me. Right?
It's me.
No, but you guys are gonna love it. We have a big time Xbox. Like he's in the media, he's in the news. Everybody knows who he is. He's a big fan of the show, and I'm a big fan of his. So gonna have him on there. We'll wait and reveal that later. I'm gonna be doing Breakfast with Boom on Friday morning. So shout out to Boom. I'll be doing that, and then we've got M&C Mornings. I can't wait. M&C Mornings is a great. Get that pot of coffee ready. Large, long, skit-filled M&C Mornings, and then we go right into E3. So it should be a lot of fun. And I'll be on BGST this week.
Yeah, it sounds good, man. However, what do you got going on?
Not too much. I should be around pretty much all day on Sunday with whatever podcast, whatever I'll get on. Obviously, otherwise, that'll be pretty much it. I'll just be around pretty much all day Sunday because I still work the weekend following up to that.
Nice.
But otherwise, you can find me on Twitter at XXHellhammer or on Xbox Live, XX_Hellhammer, or even on PSN, XX_Hellhammer.
Where you're playing through your game of the year, Detroit Become Human.
So far, anyways, there's still a lot of games to come out this year.
Yeah, there are. And Saltiest Gaming, what do you got going on, bro? I hear you got a special kick-ass guest tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah. We got a huge guest tomorrow.
Yes,
we got
me.
Crapgamer. Yeah. The Saltiest Gaming podcast tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. Be there, or be square, or be salty, or whatever you want to be. So, yeah, it was fun. Find me on Twitter if you got some salty replies. Saltiest Gaming, the I is a 1. And that's it.
All right, man. And Xbox 448, what's going on, man? Where can people find you, bro?
Live reactions on my YouTube channel all weekend long through Monday. Tune in to that channel as well, and follow me on Twitter to find out when we're going live. It is at Xbox 448. Crap, thank you again for sending me the topics in a timely manner. I really appreciate it.
5 minutes before the show because I forgot he wasn't in the chat. In our main chat, so yeah, he's like, dude,
fun being on the nation, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're you know what you're doing, man. It's not like you need a ton of time with the topics, man. You know what I mean?
I had a general idea. I was just hoping we were going to get into some D2, but
yeah, I mean, like the Crackdown stuff hit, and then so exactly. So and for that guy asking, yesterday Dealers podcast, today mine, tomorrow Saltiest. So check that out, man, on his channel, man. He's a good guy, good dude, does a good show, does good content. So we'll catch you guys later, man. Keep it Xbox and, try to be positive. Wait till E3. It's going to happen.
Don't doom and gloom.
Fingers crossed. Rack them up. Catch you later.